quiet revolution is reshaping urban transportation in Ghana: the e-hailing services. E-hailing services like Uber, Bolt, and Yango are becoming the new norm. While e-hailing has created opportunities for many, it has also exposed the struggles of those unable to adapt to the new technology. The question remains: how can both industries coexist in harmony? Let's hear from some of these drivers and e-hailing service users.
One thing I can say is that we are now in a modern world. So the old things, I would say, like Bible says, has passed. Right now, the youth are moving to the online cars. For instance, wherever you are, you can request a car. The car will come to your house. As for the taxi, unless you walk to the roadside before you get a cab. So I think that's the reason why they are moving to the online cars. Personal experience, I prefer the online one because if I buy my fuel, by the end of the day, I will get that fuel money and my sale. So I will choose the online driving more than the taxi.
Taxi. Because with the taxi, when maybe you are going to your destination, now it charges you, let's say 20 cities. It's the same 20 cities. But with the boats, you apply online, maybe they'll tell you 15 cities, and then when you are stuck in the traffic before you go to a destination, it might increase to either 30 or 25 cities. So I prefer taking taxi more than the boats. It is true in the sense that when you are going for a short distance, yes, it is cheaper. But for instance, if maybe you are going for a long distance where there's a lot of traffic in town, I prefer taking taxi more than boats. And for short distances, that one there, it is true.
Yeah, I prefer taxi. Ask my brother just said. Yeah, I mean, for instance, you're going to Kaswa, and taxi will pick you from here to Kaswa, maybe let's say 100 Ghana cedis. I know that I'm going to pay 100 by end of the day, I'm going to pay 100 Ghana cedis. But the boat or the other ones, which is Uber and those stuff, yes, they will be increased, which is around 150, 180. That might be difficult for me to pay because I'm not aware of the amount they're going to charge or they're going to take. That's it. So I prefer taxi more than Bolt or Uber. Sure.
For me, it's about where I'm going. It depends on where I'm going. If I'm going to a place that's not very far away from where I am, I prefer using a taxi. But when I'm going to a distant place, I'd rather use any of the ride-hailing apps to go to wherever I'm going. The reason is that the taxis, it depends on which taxi driver you meet. Some of them, you're going to say Adenta from Odoko. They'll look at you and say 200 cedis. Others will say, okay, 120. But when you use the ride-hailing app for longer distances, you're able to know how much you're going to pay and how long it will take you to get to where you're going. So for me, it's not about which I prefer. It depends on where I'm going, whether it's a distant place or a place that is very close to where I am presently. That some of them I blame the taxi drivers themselves. Those I normally will pick. Sometimes I just tell them, okay, we've gotten to where I'm going now, but I want to go somewhere else. How much will you take me? How much will you take from me if you take me there? Some of them will consider the fact that I took them to the first place and I want to continue with them. And so they will charge me less. But because of that competition with they try to have with the ride-hailing apps, some of them just try to charge people so much, and some taxi drivers are very rude, and because they know that you don't know their bosses to report them to, but the ride-hailing apps, it means a lot to them. So sometimes when you even get down, they'll tell you, "Oh, please rate me," because they know that if you rate them lower, it will affect their business. But the taxi drivers, because they feel there's no rating for them, some of them just treat you anyhow. And there's safety with some of these ride-hailing apps. So you leave your phone in the car. You know the vehicle you joined. So you can check with the company that is giving them the platform, and then report to them. But the taxi driver, someone lives around, say, Dowenya, but he comes to Accra to apply his business, his taxi business, and then you leave your mobile phone there. How are you going to find him? So it's not about the ride-hailing app drivers taking their vehicles. They have to even check how they operate. Some of them, you have mobile money, you want to pay, they will tell you, I don't take Momo. But the ride-hailing apps, they will take it. They will take the Momo. So the taxi drivers should begin looking at how to rebrand and then be competitive. If you go to Cape Coast, taxi drivers are also operating the ride-hailing apps. So they have a competitive edge against their colleagues here who are still stuck to the taxi business. They don't want to think of working out of the box.
It depends where I find myself at that particular moment. Because if I find myself in Accra Central, I'll definitely go for taxi. But if I find myself somewhere via East Legon, I'll definitely go for hailing app, Uber or Yango. And moreover, I think Uber Fonji, Uber and Yango are not taking the works of taxi drivers, but the way they have packaged themselves is why people are patronizing them.
Well, I would prefer Uber. I would prefer Uber because one, Uber, I think if you look at Uber, the drivers, whatever, Uber was so gentle when they came into the system. Supposing you leave any of your luggages in Uber car, they will bring it back to you. The cars are very neat, the drivers are very neat, very decent, and they know how to communicate with the passenger. So that will let me prefer Uber. But nowadays, Uber, trust me, their working is coming down. You might order for an Uber, the Uber driver will call you, ask you wherever you are going to. The next minute is cancel it, I cannot go again. Again, sometimes when you order for an Uber, let's say a kilometers per journey, the figure they will give you, the amount that you have to pay, by the time you get there, it has changed. Comparing that to taxi, if a taxi driver charge you for 30 cities, it is 30 cities, fixed price. It gets there and there is nothing, add up or deduction. But Uber doesn't do so. That is my problem with Uber. But apart from that, I think Uber, with me, I'll pick Uber ahead of taxi.
E-hailing services are here to stay, but so are the regular taxi drivers. The future of urban transport in Ghana depends on finding a balance, one that respects tradition while embracing progress. But let us know what you think in the comments.